right, boys and girls, we have got this thing set up. We have got this set out live. Now is a great time to be sharing this out to your friends because Ask a Wizard is about to begin. If you want a live wizard reading, make sure you like and share the stream and let us know in the chat. OPBs is managing the chat tonight. So if you want a reading, just let us know in the comments and she will add you to the list. We'll be doing 3 readings in the middle of today's show and then doing all the rest at the end of tonight's show. So if you'd like a free 1-card reading, now is the time to do it. And if you'd like to upgrade to a 3-card reading, make sure you go to paypal.me/askawizard, pay whatever you think a reading is worth, and you'll get a 3-card reading instead. And let OPVs know, and we will confirm on PayPal and get you upgraded right away. Well, let's get this show on the road. Here we are. It is Ask a Wizard. Welcome, everybody, to Ask a Wizard. Let's get this show started. Tonight, we are going to be looking into Project MK Ultra. We're going to also be looking at the cryptid known as a Skinwalker, and we're going to make your hand stretch at home. Now, let me get this live here because I don't have the chat on my phone. I cannot see you guys while I'm doing the show unless I got it on my phone. So let's get this going here. Wow, we got a ton of people in here tonight. Welcome, everybody. Oh, I hate hearing me on a delay. That's so weird. How's it going, Zan Joe? Hello, SpongeBob SquarePants makes a return. Mr. Salty, the one, the only Salty Owl. How are you doing, sir? Singing H-Bear, the legend who helped solve the project of Charlie tonight. Wow, that was a great code cracking you guys did tonight on TikTok show. I am glad that you guys escaped. It would be a shame if you had to watch this whole thing and be terrorized by Charlie while you're watching this show. But it's glad Singing H-Bear was one of the heroes who slayed that puzzle tonight. Welcome, 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 everyone, and let's get this live show going. So, what was that? Oh, yes. That would be helpful. All right. Starting off strong, we're going to start with our standard Weekly Weird. So, the Weekly Weird news today is Germany is rounding up people who have broken the beer sniffle rules and is sending them to concentration camps. This is actually happening. This is being discussed by Germany. Germany is planning on rounding up people who violate beer sniffle laws and putting them in concentration camps. I bet you they did not see that coming. But no, in all seriousness, they're going full Nazi again. It's really scary. Yeah, they're locking people in concentration camps over the flu. And Germans, so basically what I'm hearing is, Germany, you've decided that you want to clean up the filth and the dirt and unclean populations with concentration camps, huh? Almost like you've developed a final solution of sorts, perhaps? No, but seriously, this is terrible. This is how you start Nazi movements. I can't believe Germany's doing this. But maybe they just need to do it again to learn what happens, and then it's not going to go well for you, Germany. Really, really wouldn't recommend going down this path. It really, really doesn't end well. But with that being said, this is all you need to know about the news because everything else is irrelevant. The news is a lie and a scam, and it's flashing boxes that are designed to scare you. So let's move on to things that actually matter, like build, grow, and create. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to learn to cook, even if you can't cook. So yesterday, I had recommended, maybe check out Mainshi. She'll teach you how to do traditional Korean cooking. Well, it turns out a lot of you are like, yeah, but I can't even make a sandwich. And you're like, oh, right. Not everyone has spent 10 years cooking meals and practicing and getting better at it. So we've set up a channel here that's going to help you with the basics. By the way, we have a professional chef in the chat. That's Salty Owl here. Salty is a professional chef, which is different from being a cook, I might add. A chef is significantly more difficult than a cook. A cook, the ability to cook well is a skill that most people can master over a course of a few years. If you're making your breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day and trying to improve, being a chef is a different skill set. The ability to make a delicious meal is pretty attainable for pretty much everyone. The ability to make the same meal 150 times a night consistently and have it be great, totally different skill set, and it's a lot harder. That's really intense stuff. So really awesome to see here, but we're going to be focusing on cooking here today. And the channel that I would recommend for this, if you are just starting out, is one that OPBs loves to use, and I myself watch quite frequently. What is this ad? Get off my screen. Get off my screen. This is disgusting. Get off. Oh, gosh. What a vile product. Jeez. What does this have to do with anything that I'm interested in? I'll tell you, nothing. So why are you sending it to me? You're wasting your money to have me watch an ad that I'm going to hate, and now I hate your product. What product should I hate? Oh, it's called Disney Plus. Disney Plus is a garbage product. You should not buy it. I hate anybody who's involved with Disney Plus's products now because of your ad. See what you did, Disney Plus? It doesn't work very well. Maybe make a good ad. All right, so this guy is called The Complete Beginner's Guide to Fermenting Food at Home. This is just one of his popular videos. However, the channel at hand here is called Pro Home Cooks. So this guy teaches you everything you need to know as a beginner cook to start taking your food to the next level. For example, he has videos on how to make 14 different recipes using eggs. He has how to make your own fermented hot sauces. He has how to make simple, cheap meals that are delicious and healthy. This is a fantastic channel to check out. It's called Pro Home Cooks, and you can give him a subscribe right here. I'm going to do that right now. Go over here and hit the subscribe button. Well, possibly. My mouse has vanished once again. Why does that happen sometimes? Do you have any ideas? Any ideas in the chat below? Let us know. Well, we're not going to subscribe right now. I'll subscribe later. I'm subscribed on my personal account. But you can give him a subscribe, give him a thumbs up, and if you want to start learning how to cook, this is a guy that you should check out. Learning to cook is one of the best skills you can master to improve your health, your quality of life, and saving lots of money. When you learn how to cook, you can start eating gourmet food that can be portioned perfectly for your diet, and it will also save you hundreds of dollars every month just by not having to eat out. So if you want to start learning how to cook today, you should head over to Pro Home Cooks and give them a sub. This channel will teach you the basics of cooking so that you can start upgrading your meals at home and start exploring different cultural cuisines, like we mentioned yesterday, in your own kitchen. So give this guy a sub if you're into that kind of thing, and we're going to move on to the show. Tyler, do these YouTube channels sponsor you or something? It's like you make an ad. No, I just think they're awesome, so I tell people about them. And I'd love it to be you. I would love to be promoting only owl channels in the future, but until you guys start making, building, and growing and creating stuff, I gotta pick the channels that I watch myself. So fill them in. Make yourself be on this show. That would be great. Now, let's move on to the first incredible video. The Ents have had enough. So apparently someone has disrupted the Ents. Now, if you're not familiar, the Ents are the tree people from Lord of the Rings. We have footage here of the tree people just losing their mind over in Australia, actually, which I believe Salty Owl is from. So you can confirm if this is true. Have the trees turned on you? Are they going after you? Let me know if this is all happening. Let's take a look here. So this guy is just chilling in his car. Oh, that reminds me. Let me get this audio going on for you guys so you can hear it better. Boom. Yeah, you hear that? That's the resounding sound of a sound. Oh, what a great song. So just rolling around. Oh, a little too quick. So she's just going on a road trip. Nothing too weird. Nope. There's so many of them. It's like 15 trees just fell down all at the same time to block this lady's way. My goodness. What is that? How do you get into a situation where that's even a problem? I want to know. Like, is this like an earthquake? Is this maybe a bunch of like people cutting them at the same times? But you would think that you could kill people that way. You think the wind would be able to blow over all those trees though? Interesting. So those, I'm going to go ahead and say probably Ents. I think Ents is the most likely scenario. They got angry and they're starting to fight back. I think it's because they had those fires in Australia and now the trees are like, they're done. You know, this happened in Lord of the Rings. They burnt too many of the trees and the trees just couldn't take it. So I'm thinking that's the most likely scenario. Let's see. Singing H Bear says, I hate everything about cooking except for eating it. Well, Singing H Bear, you should give it a try because it's basically like getting to do a science experiment every day, and you get to see if you do better every day too. So it's pretty cool. I wouldn't be surprised me, but yes, they call them widowmakers, a type of gum tree. It's real. Has a really fragile trunk. Ooh, interesting. We've got some insider info here. So that's the gum tree. Nice. All right. So that's probably the explanation.
Maybe. Also, Mr. Salty's daughter wants to be an owl.
Oh, awesome. We'll definitely owlify him. Yes, the owlets. That's right. We have as you have known if you follow the show, we've got like 1,000 things that we're trying to get done. And one of them is to establish the Owlets, which would be a kids-friendly show that is more about like, you know, Aesop's fables and fun child-friendly content and stuff like that. And we would want them to be the Owlets. So maybe that would be something to do in the future. We want to get into some children's literature and stuff like that. But yeah, that would be great. By the way, if you guys happen to be a fan of the anime known as One Punch Man, we're going to be doing a archetypical analysis. It's our first ever attempt on this. Very beta mode, but if you guys like it, let me know, and we'll be doing a lot more shows in the future. And if you think it's the worst thing you've ever seen, let me know too, and then we won't do it anymore. All right. So let's take a look at our first big segment for the day, and that is History's Mysteries, Project MK Ultra. So this is also one of those topics, if your daughter happens to be watching and she's younger, maybe not the best topic, because let me tell you guys, MK Ultra is some of the weirdest and most evil stuff I have seen in a long time. That's just publicly available knowledge that people just don't talk about. This is really bizarre. So MK Ultra is the CIA's project that they started during the Cold War to research mind control, psychic powers, brainwashing, hypnosis, drugs, and paranormal abilities. They called it brain warfare, and they said it was more important than nuclear warfare. So how this all started was the Russians said that they had developed a mind experiment channel or program, and they began massively buying tons and tons of LSD. They bought, which is an extremely dangerous drug that can permanently damage your mind. And they're buying tons of it, and they believe it's because it gives them the ability to control other people's minds through the utilization of different techniques. So the US, in turn, also begins to buy up LSD and starts building and creating their own LSD in response to what's happening in Russia. Now, the U.S. proceeds to then use these drugs along with brainwashing and mind control techniques and hypnosis to attempt to make real sleeper assassins. You may have heard of the movie called The Manchurian Candidate, where a person gets brainwashed into being an assassin without even realizing it. They literally tried to do that. That movie is based on a true thing that actually occurred. In fact, they spent a large period of time poisoning a woman with LSD unknowingly, and then tried to get her to shoot an unarmed woman just to see if they could. They also did the same thing to a man and tried to get him to plant a bomb by hearing a code word over a phone. So they were doing real Manchurian Candidate stuff in this program. Absolutely terrifying. But it gets even worse. A lot of these people weren't even volunteers. They would just take prisoners and experiment on them, and they would go to mental hospitals and take mentally disabled people and start drugging them with these poisons. It is horrifying, horrifying stuff. In fact, one of these guys actually got brain damage permanently, and he's now trying to sue the CIA for permanently damaging his brain. And they're in court right now. That's where things get even shadier. The way that they set this thing up is they made it into a bunch of tiny little sub-companies, the different names, different information, different organization titles, all to try and hide their trail. So they are covering their tracks. And so this puts them into a really strange position. I don't know why that's in there. Really scary spot where you have a big organization, very little oversight, and a lot of dangerous people. In fact, they started trying to do what they called personality destruction, and they did this to innocent people, where they caused people to essentially, they were trying to rewrite their personalities and cause these people to commit suicide. So they would give them massive dosages of LSD, as well as abuse them and torture them, and these people killed themselves. So they were murdered by the CIA. And not only did they murder them indirectly through these methods, they actually straight out assassinated a few of these people. Anyone that was linked to the program that had any confidential information was drugged and then pushed out of windows to make it look like suicides. Just insane stuff. These guys go even further, though, and they're just going nuts. So they start going and having fake prostitution rings, attract people in. They drug the people and then record the sessions and hold it as blackmail to bring them into their program. This is the U.S. government. This is the CIA that's doing this. This is not, and this is all declassified, public information, and you don't really hear about it. They go even further. They start going to San Francisco bars in public and just start putting LSD and other deadly drugs into people's drinks just to see what would happen. And so they would go into bars, put poison into people's beverages, and then see if they could make them go crazy, freak out, what would happen to them, just, to research. And that's their whole claim for why they were doing it. Absolutely horrendous. Well, as you can imagine, when this information came out, the government was not very happy about it. So what was their response? They immediately pull a Hillary Clinton and just start deleting everything. They're deleting all of their files. They're hiding them. They're burning their facilities down. They're wiping their servers. And 90% of all of their records were deleted before they got confiscated by the government. Of the 10% that were released, almost everything in them was redacted. The only thing that they left was, there's nothing to see here, though. We didn't discover anything in terms of psychic research. Don't worry about that. Nothing happened. It wasn't working. Doesn't work. It's not real. Can't brainwash people. It's totally fake. Except, they continued to start other programs and research psychic phenomenon and all these other things under different names just a few years later. And that's actually still going on to this day. So, the CIA has done a lot of evil things, and we know about them publicly. Imagine what they're hiding. It's actually horrifying. They invested millions and millions of dollars into these programs, and when they're exposed, they delete all their files, and then they come out and say, no, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing going on. That's kind of sounds like what you do when you're really, really guilty and you're hiding something. Now, why are they still ongoing research programs if they discovered this isn't real? Why is the government still spending millions of dollars every year to research psychic phenomenon if it's not real? Finally, you guys may know my heuristic, which is the government only tells lies. Now, is that always true? No, but it's a heuristic. A heuristic is something that's not true, but it's a useful thing to think of. So whenever you hear the government say anything, always tell yourself, the government always tells lies. Assume what they're saying is a lie until proven otherwise. So based on this heuristic, the government told me psychic phenomenon doesn't exist, so I believe it's real. And I can't see any other way out of that, and it looks like they're doing some really crazy stuff. So that is the horrifying story of Project MK Ultra. What are your thoughts?
That's crazy. It's
Right.
all crazy.
It's insane, right?
I believe it.
Yeah, absolutely psychos.
When you said the government always tells lies, it
Yeah.
reminded me of Avatar.
Yeah,
Azula always lies.
Azula always lies?
Yeah, Zuko would say, Azula always tells lies.
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, it's a good heuristic. If you just assume the government's lying to you all the time, it's almost always right. It's kind of scary how amazing it is. Let's see. Do we have any questions from people here? I'm going to lay down and listen. Awesome. What time estimate for the first round of readings? I'm not sure. We'll find out. Wow, it's nuts. It is really, really nuts. It's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff indeed. The thing is, though, that it's true. Yeah, Yeah, it sounds like a movie plot. It does. In fact, they made a movie about it.
Oh, really?
One of the Men Who Stare at Goats is a movie about the people that were involved with the MK Ultra program.
That's crazy.
It's scary, and that was and a lot of people say that was basically a cover job. That movie and book was designed to make them look good, if you can imagine it, to be like, look how funny and wild and wacky they were.
Oh, no.
And it's like, yeah, no, you murdered people and poisoned entire populations with highly dangerous drugs. You permanently damaged people's brains. Like, it's horrifying. Yeah, so that's Project MK Ultra. Don't trust the government, boys and girls. Now, let's move on to another incredible video, which is a whirlpool is actually low-key broken. Did you know that whirlpools are like insanely powerful? I thought that every time you see them, you think, oh, I've seen a lot of whirlpools, and it's never anything that remarkable, right? You don't look at it and think that's scary and dangerous. Look at how powerful this whirlpool is. So right here, that little thing right in front of us, small little tiny whirlpool. You wouldn't think anything of it, right? You see that? It doesn't freak you out. Watch what it can do. It's literally swallowing trees. It's absurd. My word. I'm never going to trust a whirlpool again. It's just swallowing the earth. Exactly. How much can it... Where does it go? Absolutely insane. Right? It's just going into the ether of death, apparently. My word. It's just swallowing the earth. It just keeps going. Oh my gosh, should we just get down? So that's it. That's the whirlpool. So here's a shot of what it looks like. It doesn't look that scary, but as you can tell, it's just demolishing this stuff. So if you see a whirlpool in the nature, guys, stay clear of that thing. You don't want to be messing around because you never know if it's going to be something that sucks in trees or if it's just a gentle, nice little water ride, right? Matthew says, my mom is an expert. Need to get her on the show. Ooh, is she? You should interview your mom. Interesting. All right. Expert in MK Ultra, I'm assuming. Let me know in the comments below, Matthew. I know he's on a delay, though, so it's hard.
Are you going to owl for me?
Oh, yeah. Yes, we do those during the readings.
Oh, okay.
But do you want to do it now? Does he need to go?
No.
Okay, sweet. All right, so next up we have Magic Illusion and the Arcane Arts. Tonight, we're going to be doing some magic illusions for you guys. This is the black and white colored castle. Then we're going to be looking into Fred Cap's incredible magic. And finally, we're going to cause a illusion happen for you guys at home in real time that will stretch your hand. So we're going to be doing that in just a bit. Now is a good time to like the stream and share the stream out because you're going to experience some strange phenomena in just a moment. And when you do, your friend and you tell your friends, they're going to say, a wizard told you what and did what, that you're a crazy person. So to avoid them calling you a crazy person, invite that friend now. When you invite them now, then they don't think you're a crazy person. It's a pretty good plan if you ask me. So let's get started while you guys get that planned. And you don't need anything for this illusion tonight. You'll just need your hands. So let's go here and take a look at our first illusion, which is really cool optical illusion here, guys. I'm gonna turn off the sound though, or not. There we go. So for this particular one, you're gonna note there's a little black dot in the middle of this castle here, this black and white castle. You're gonna stare at that dot. It'll be more clear when some color is on the screen. And what's going to happen is, as you stare at the dot, don't break your concentration on the dot. You can blink if you need to. Try to blink as little as possible. And this black and white photo is going to turn into full color for you in real life. Let's begin. So stare at the center here, the black dot on the castle here. And again, it'll be much clearer once the color comes in. We're going to see that happen here in just a bit. And again, blink when you need to. It's not you don't have to stare, but stare at the black dot. And I'm sorry, you do need to stare, but it's not about only not blinking. As you focus on that dot now, just keep your attention there. And in a moment, the color is going to go away, and you're going to be able to see the same photo in full color for a moment. You should be able to see it in color now. Look away and then look back, and you'll see that it is now black and white again. That is the color changing castle. Isn't that incredible? Your eyes can literally turn the image into a color image just by staring at them. Isn't that insane? It's a world that's happening in your head alone. Absolutely incredible. Matthew says, need to get her on the show. Yes, awesome. All right, Matthew, definitely, let's get in contact. Fast forward here again so you guys can experience it one more time. So staring at that dot, it's crazy because if you don't break your stare, it stays color for a while. But the second you blink or look away, it goes right back to black and white. It's so crazy. Man, that's so bizarre. Like, you can see the green, the blue, the clouds, everything. And then you just look away and it's so crazy. So crazy indeed. So that is the black and white castle. I hope you guys enjoyed that particular illusion. Now, next up is a wonderful magician. His name is Fred Capps. He needs more credit. People need to know his name. Again, guys, if you want to see these classics of magic, go over to Vintage Magic Archives. Give them a subscribe. Give them a thumbs up. Great performance. The Wizard. I'm going to leave him a comment because that really helps people out. When you leave comments on the videos, it really boosts them in their engagement. And this guy deserves all of those and more. So let's take a look here at the one, the only, Freddie Capps.
A Chinese string. You know what these are? Yes, of course, look. These are just wooden weights. That's right.
So he's pulling out 4 little wooden weights.
Put them in a square. Right? Like that. There's nothing in my hand. No. Now, I'm going to cover these little weights. I can cover them this way, or this way, or that way.
You can, that's correct. You can do all of those things.
Watch very carefully. When I do this,
wow. That's so good.
You like it? All right? Now watch it very carefully again. Now from there, it goes all the way over there. Now when you see it here, it goes all the way over there. Now this one joins that one, and that one joins that one, so you got them all four together.
Absolutely wonderful. That is the one, the only, that is Fred Capps, everybody. A beautiful illusion on his part. And now we're going to move on to the effect for you guys at home. So to take part in this illusion, I'm going to be causing this to happen. If you took part in the show earlier today, you may find this illusion familiar, but I'm going to be doing it for you guys as well. See you later, Corey. Have a good night. All right, so to begin this effect, we're going to cause some strange sensations to occur in your hand. It's going to feel a little odd. You'll feel like your fingers are stretching out, almost like they're made out of rubber. It's not going to hurt, but it will feel a little strange. So if that kind of thing freaks you out, you don't need to take part in it. Just don't do what I'm saying, and it won't happen for you. But it will, for those of you who are taking part in this, you're going to feel like your fingers are stretching out. You might feel some vibrations in your hand. You might feel it get tingly, electrical, but nothing painful, but it does feel a little odd. So if that kind of thing freaks you out, don't worry. You might also notice some strange phenomenon occur. Again, this is not paranormal. This is what's called a paracosm. So this is an imaginary world. In this kind of shared experience we have, you might notice temperature changes, shadows moving, objects moving, things like that. If that happens, it's okay, but it can be a little scary. So again, if you don't want to take part in it, perfectly fine. Just don't do what I'm saying, and you won't have those experiences. If you do have those happen, let us know in the comments below. So what you want to do is first we want to confirm that this is actually happening. So what I want you to do is take your hands, find a line on your pinky, and find your other line on your pinky, match them up together in front of your face like I'm doing here, and then put your hands together. Now the reason we're doing that is we want a reference point for where your hands are at. So you'll be able to see your fingers here. You can see that they're about the same size on both hands. Nothing, it's not like wildly different from each other. It's about the same size. When you match up that line of your hand like so. So take note of where they're at. And now we're going to cause some strange things to happen. Place one hand down by your stomach and place the hand that we're going to be stretching on the top of your head like so. And as you do this, I want you to start focusing on this hand and imagine it charging up with energy. And as you do that, what I'm going to do is take the energy that started feeling in your palm, which isn't that odd that it started in your palm and that I knew that you would feel it in your palm. And now I'm going to move that energy to the tips of your fingers very slowly. And as I do, you'll feel your fingers begin to get rubbery and stretchy and pull out with the energy now. 3, 2, 1. You should begin to feel it moving up your fingers, going into the tips of your fingers and pulling them ever so slightly. It might feel tingly or warm or strange, but you'll feel it indeed. And now we should just have that stay right there. And now I want you to confirm that even though this is just in your imagination, that it's affecting you in the real world. So let's bring your hand down now, match it up with that pinky line again, just like before, and then take a look at your fingers. You'll notice that the hand that I have stretched out is now significantly longer than the other one. It's a good inch longer on my end. You'll notice the hand that's been stretched here is now way larger than it was before, making sure that, again, those lines match up perfectly. And just as easily as we changed your reality now, we're going to put everything back to normal. So all you need to do is rub your hands together like this, give it a nice squeeze, and we're going to have everything go back to normal. But I'm going to count down from 3 to 1, and I'll try and show off and cause a little bit more scary phenomenon to occur for you as we put things back together. 3, 2, 1. Just like that, you can go and check your hands now. You'll find when you match up your pinkies now and put your hands together that your hand has gone back to the way it was just like before. It is now the same exact size again. Let us know if that worked for you guys at home. Did you guys experience it? Let's find out and see what you guys had happen. Aiden says he's going to take the challenge. Let's see how that worked for him. V-Lone giving the thumbs up. V-Lone giving the question marks. Can I still get added to the list? Absolutely. See you later, Corey. And let's see what we got going on in the chat. I know we're on a bit of a delay. And, of course, we're going to be moving on to our first round of live wizard readings. So whoever was asking, now is the time we'll be doing live wizard readings. Let's see what we got. What just happened, Aiden says. So that worked really well for Aiden. He experienced the hand stretching illusion. I'm glad that that worked really well for you. And you felt that happen. Pretty cool stuff indeed. Who do we have first on our list?
Singing H-Bear.
Singing H-Bear. If you're still here and awake, let us know and we'll get your reading started shortly.
Might not.
Could be. It most def worked. Awesome. Glad to hear that that's working for you guys. That was crazy from V-Lone. Awesome. Glad to hear that that worked well for you guys and had a fun experience. How about you, BBs? How was that?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Crazy, isn't it? That was crazy, according to V-Lone. He confirms that it was indeed crazy. All right. Let's see. So, Singing H-Bear, and who's after Singing H? Aiden is after Singing H-Bear. So, Aiden, I saw you just commented here. So, we'll get your reading started if we don't hear from Singing H-Bear in just a bit. And then we will move on to yours. By the way, if you want to upgrade your reading from that 1-card reading to a 3-card reading, you can go to paypal.me/AskWizard and pay whatever you think that reading would be worth, and you will get a 3-card reading instead. Also, you can send your letters in at P.O. Box 8881, Missoula, Montana, 59807, where we open and read your letters live on air. You can send finances that way too. It's greatly appreciated, but not required. All right, Singing H-Bear, we have not seen from her, so we're going to go ahead and move on to Aiden after we give her the roll call. Let's go. Going once.
Oh, she's here.
Oh, look at that Singing H Bear sliding in at the last minute. Well, actually, she had a full 2 seconds. She had time to spare. All right, let's get Singing H Bear her reading, and then we'll get Aiden's reading next. All right. Singing H Bear. Anything in particular, Singing H Bear, you need insights on? Let me know. And I'm going to go start with the general reading here. But if there's something specific, let me know. All right. What we got here is the 8 of Wands. All right, so the 8 of Wands is, let me get that on the screen for you, right there. This is about growth in spiritual development. So what this is saying is, you are here singing H Bear. Yes, you are. I like your Kirby emoji. So the 8 of Wands is about spiritual growth and development. So this is going through the phase. This is typically a really positive experience. Usually the spiritual development phases of our life are really difficult and really hard. They can be some of the harder challenges that we are presented in life. However, the 8 of Wands is a special time during that process, which is the realization that you are growing, and it's not just growth in your mind, but you're actually seeing the real world results. So this can be a very positive experience where you recognize, hey, sticking to my principles, committing to what I believe in, and working on those things is actually starting to pay off now, and you're starting to see that growth in the real world. So this is a great card to see popping up here. What I would recommend doing is ask yourself, what are the things that I've done in my life that I've been working on for a long time now, that are starting to become fruitful and make my life better? And you will probably get a lot of positive feedback from doing that. So that would be my recommendation there for you, Singing H Bear. I hope that helps you out. I hope that gives you some insights. And we're going to move on to the next reading, which is Aiden. Boo, 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 boo. Aiden, emotions maybe? Wait, you're saying what I needed to you too. Awesome, Singing H Bear. Yeah, that's what I do. It's called wizardry. It's kind of my thing. I hope that helps you out and it gives you some insights. I'm assuming the dancing emojis are a good sign, and we're going to go on to the one, the only Aiden. Boom. Aiden, if there's anything in particular you're looking for insights on, let me know. Who's after Aiden?
Mr. Salty.
Mr. Salty, and then we have an owlifying for her as well. Well, not for her, for his daughter. Her. All right, let's go. Aiden is up. Salty, if you're still here, let us know in the chat below, and we'll be getting your reading started right after Aiden here, and get you all owlified. All right, Aiden. Let's see. Ooh, all right. Another Wands. Wow. Okay. And it's all the positive ones, too. I'm impressed. So what we see showing up here is the 4 of Wands. Okay, so the 4 of Wands is about stability of logos. And so stability of logos. What am I saying? Stability of your principles. And so what this is saying is we need to focus our attention back on our core principles and our values, what matters most to us. When we go to that point, this is a Stoic exercise. This is also a Christian exercise. In fact, there's an entire discipline called Christian Stoicism, and this is one of the core principles, is reflecting on your virtue, your honor, the things that matter most. Am I honoring God? Am I sticking to my principles? Am I doing things that I reflect on and say, I did the right thing in those situations, so I'm happy with who I am. By doing that, even when things are chaotic in the material realm, emotional realm, or even intellectual realm, you have that rock to build on. So the 4 of Wands is a call to action to go back to that rock and to focus on that and gain the stability there so that you can approach these other problems calmly and confidently, because you know that you have these to fall back on. So that would be the recommendation there for you, Aiden. I hope it helps you out. Hope that gives you some insights. And if you need any book recommendations on that, let me know, because there's quite a few out there. C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity would be a good start. All right. And let's see who's up next. Is Salty. Salty, are you here, sir? Can you make a noise for me, Salty? Salty. Salty Owl is a legendary owl, by the way. He is been with us since, gosh, the days of Facebook. He's been around for a while, and a legendary chef as well. I believe he lives in Australia, and that's as much information as I'll give you, so I don't just dox him. But he also is co-manager of a group on Facebook called Salty Tarot. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, Facebook group over there, give Salty Tarot a search, and it should pop right on up for you guys. Got it, man. Thank you. No problem at all, Aiden. Glad I could help. And let's see, is Salty Owl here? If not, we can go ahead and we can give it the roll call. You ready to do it?
Okay.
All right. Well, wait, we'll see. Give it a little bit of a delay. I mean, if Salty isn't able to arrive at this time, we can move him to the end of the show as well. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. Going once. Going twice. And sold off the list. All right, Salty's moved to the second segment. Was there anybody else who was looking for a reading? V-Lone, the one, the only V-Lone. If you're here, V-Lone, let us know in the comments below, and we'll get your reading started shortly. Did I spell archetypical wrong? Oh my gosh, I think I did. I spelled it archetypal. I mean, they're both correct, so whatever. But I just realized I screwed up the whole show segment thing. Oh, you'll see. I'm gonna hit the hay. Take care, all. Awesome, Aiden. I'll see you later. By the way, guys, in just a minute after we finish up these readings, we're gonna be looking at a hungry whale, and we're gonna be finding out, is Saitama from One Punch Man actually Jesus? Good night, Aiden. Thank you for joining. Awesome. V-Lone is here. Is there anything in particular, V-Lone, you're looking for insights on? Let me know. Let us begin. That's a great headline for the whale video, by the way. I'm proud of that one. He's a hungry boy. Wow. Wands again. Okay, so that's 3 wands in a row. Let's see what we got going on here, V-Lone. So this is the 5 of Wands. So the 5 of Wands is about a disruption in the spiritual, a disruption in your principles. So what this is about is being in a situation where conflict is arising because you hold true values and principles and things that are dear and sacred to you, and it's causing a little bit of confusion and disruption with other people around you. So this is very common, especially if you're a Christian. This happens all the time to Christians, where when you stick to your religion and your values, you're inevitably going to upset and confuse and irritate other people because you highlight their failures and you believe in good things when they think those things are evil, and vice versa. So this is a tough thing to go through, but it is important that you realize this is a training, this is a discipline. Not caving to social pressures when you're sticking to your values and your virtues is a crucial element in spiritual development. So while it isn't the most fun, it is the secret to growth and success. So what I would recommend doing during this time is stick with it, keep pushing through it, and find other people that have like-minded values and ask them for help and assistance as well. That's a great place. That's why people go to church, is to commune with other people that are like-minded and have the same principles. So it doesn't have to be a church. It doesn't have to be Christianity, but whatever spiritual journey you're on, that's crucial. So that would be my recommendation there for you. I hope that helps you out, V-Lone, and gives you some insights. And good luck on that journey. I know it's tough, but it is the way that we grow. As Aristotle said, all learning is painful. All growth is painful. In the same way, when you go to a gym, you don't get muscle by feeling no pain. You get it by inducing pain. So that is the key. So with that, I think that's the 3rd reading, right? All right, so let's move on to the next segment here. And Salty Owl, if you return, let us know, and we will get you on the 2nd batch. All right, so up next is this whale is a hungry boy. Let me tell you, this is insanity. Oh my word! This is like straight out of a horror movie. Check this out. So these guys are just out chilling in the ocean, doing some scuba diving. No biggie. Got a lot of birds. Doing a little whale watching. And it appears that they're trying to like pull in a fishing net of some sort. Maybe the fishing net got caught. So this guy's got an underwater camera, and he notices there's a lot of fish around him. And if you listen closely, you could hear them saying, "Swim away!" If you listen very carefully. Swim away! See, you could hear that? Could you hear that? But suddenly, a bunch of little fishes start swimming around him. In a bit of a panic. What could cause them so much concern? Boom! That's what could cause them so much concern. Look at that whale. Narrowly misses this guy. So you watch the water start erupting in fish here. So that's your signal. Watch this guy. They're both here. So here's a swimmer and here's a swimmer. Boom. He literally gets knocked by the whale. He's maybe 6 inches away from being swallowed by this whale. Boom. Look at that guy. He's so close. Wow. Just out of nowhere. Giant humpback whale. He could have easily ate him in one bite. Wouldn't have even been a challenge.
You're going to have to do more to clean that wetsuit.
My word. Whew. That whale was a hungry boy. All right, so that is the incredible video that I have for you guys here today. That is a whale that got real hungry and just did some nomming. It was intense. And with that, we're gonna move on to our new beta test segment, archetypical analysis. This is where I'm going to show you guys. So part of wizardry is analyzing and understanding and reading archetypical story. And one of the most important keys to understanding and unlocking archetypical story is to identify Jesus. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the hero's journey is a pattern of logos that is written into the universe. You would call this like God being the author. And good stories all follow a hero's journey style. Now, they aren't always doing this consciously. However, nonetheless, that's the word I'm looking for. Nonetheless, my brain just totally lost its capacity to communicate there for a second. Nonetheless, people who create good stories that people enjoy always incorporate biblical and hero's journey and archetypical narrative into their stories. It's what makes them popular and successful. Now, Jesus acts as a key to all understanding and unlocking all these different archetypes, because Jesus is usually the easiest character to identify, and once you can identify who is Jesus, figuring out who everyone else is becomes much easier, and it actually opens up the text to you and reveals a lot of information about the story that wouldn't otherwise be there. So, I was watching One Punch Man. Now, before we continue, huge spoiler alerts. If you have not seen Season 2 of One Punch Man or Season 1, this is going to have some spoilers. So just giving you your chance. Now's a good time. You could go and put it on mute. Maybe open something else up. We'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. But this is your warning. It's a fair warning. We're giving it to you. All right, cool. So my theory is Saitama represents Jesus in this anime we've been watching called One Punch Man. Now, I'm going to show you why I think this is the case. I think it's really, really transparently Jesus to the point where it's actually kind of laughable. So I'll show you what we're looking at here. And then we'll also look into a few of the other characters once we've revealed that Saitama is Jesus, and I'll show you how that actually activates the story in a way. So, the first part is that he is all-powerful. That's kind of the joke of Saitama, is that he is just so unbelievably broken. He is the most powerful thing you could imagine. He defeats the most powerful beings in the universe with a single punch. He's faster than the fastest person without effort. He's stronger than them. He can tank everything. So it's the whole god archetype, Aslan kind of thing, where the character just is all powerful. So Saitama just checks that box right off the bat. What really adds the Jesus element to him is the fact that he also introduces a personal relationship. And this is really interesting because this is how they portray Jesus in the Bible, and a lot of stories actually leave this part out. And so Saitama not only is the most powerful being who saves the day every single time, but he also is personally responsible for bringing other people on their hero's journey. So other people, all the people who do good things, change their life, reform, strive for something better, they all do it in the story because they encountered Saitama at some point in a personal way. And so you get that Aslan effect of these guys remembering a vague, off in the distance, I remember running into this bald man who gave me the strength and the courage to pursue my dreams or turn me off the path of evil. And you see Saitama, clobbering criminals, and then they get reformed, change their lives around, become good people. So very direct parallels coming in here for Jesus. And at the root of all these heroic acts, you're finding Saitama is found and delivers the right line at the right time. He's always saying the right thing, just like Jesus does. So Saitama never says anything wrong. He always is delivering the perfect line. It's always disruptive. It's not what you expect. Very similar to what you see with the parallels of Jesus, of course. So that's the arguments that I have to establish that I believe Saitama is the Jesus key of this story in One Punch Man. In fact, we actually also saw a parallel to his death and resurrection with his story of how he came to be. He lets his old self die off by training, and then he becomes unstoppable. So he goes from being a man, which Jesus is, to becoming God, as Jesus does. So it's pretty direct parallel here to him being Jesus. Now that we know, or we can say theorize, that Saitama is Jesus of this story, let's put everyone else into perspective. So, well, not everyone else, a few other characters. So, for example, in this story, not only is Jesus in here, but we also have Nietzsche. Nietzsche actually makes an appearance in this story in the form of a character known as Garu. Garu, is that how you pronounce it? Do you remember? Garo. There you go. So he comes in the form of this guy named Garu. So Garu represents Nietzsche's philosophy. And so his whole thing is he wants to ascend above morality, and he strives to do for something greater than good and evil. He wants to seek to redeem the strong and rewrite the narrative of what a monster is. And so that's Nietzsche's philosophy in a nutshell. And this is what makes these so interesting. This is what makes wizard philosophy so interesting when you archetypically analyze stuff. You're basically watching what the author thinks of Jesus in this situation, and you're also having them take other people's theories and ideas and throw them against Jesus and saying, what does this person's reaction to when they encounter Jesus, for example. And so because Saitama is so clownishly the Jesus archetype, he's just so over the top. He makes Aslan look like a metaphor for Jesus. It's like so over the top with his ultimate power. He's always doing the right thing. He never can make a mistake. You're basically seeing what happens when Nietzsche is confronted with Jesus or God. And as you can tell, just absolutely wipes this guy out. Not even a chance. Doesn't stand up against him at all. I believe Saitama bumps him and causes him to be completely incapacitated. He just pushes him out of the way, and he's crippled from it. So very, very powerful guy indeed. Now, when you're conjuring up these different philosophical archetypes to encounter Jesus, you see what happens. The dichotomy of morality gets broken down into the story. Could you go ahead and update that? For example, they will present you with not just evil people confronting Jesus, but they also will deviate between evil, good, and the wicked. So wicked would be people that God would destroy. This would be like your demons. These are people who have said, I don't just sin, but I love to sin, and I'm proud of my sin. That kind of behavior is what God seeks to destroy. That's called the wicked, which is different from being good or evil. And so they will throw different archetypes at the Jesus character and see how would this play out. And this happens in the positive as well as the negative. So we looked at someone who is not bad. He's not wicked. He's just evil. And that's the Nietzsche character here. Now we also see the good characters as well. So, or I should say the evil characters as well. These are directly the wicked characters. So the wicked characters are represented as monsters in this show. They call them monsters. And Jesus just destroys them outright with a single punch. So you can tell when someone is not evil, but is actually wicked when Saitama comes and just instantly kills them without even trying. This would be akin to Jesus casting out demons into the pigs, for example, without any difficulties whatsoever. And so that's what we're seeing him confront with the wicked monsters. Now, you also have the good. So, for example, there's a character who is known as Moomin Rider, and he is a very general, basic guy. He's not special. He has no powers, but he seeks to be a great character based on who he is and what the best that he can be because he was inspired by Jesus. So this represents a good person. This would be a good Christian, for example. They look at the highest ideal and say, I am going to strive to be as close to that as possible, knowing I'll never reach it, but I can still shoot for it. And so you get that with Moomin Rider as he flashes back to seeing Saitama and being inspired by him. You also see the archetype of the 12 apostles in this guy named Genos. Is it Genos? Genos. Genos also models the archetype of a good person. In this case, he represents a disciple. He literally goes to Saitama, encounters him, and drops everything that he's planned in his life and goes and says, I will follow you, please be my master. Like, so it's a direct parallel to the come be fishers of men. But what's interesting is when you start to realize that Saitama isn't literally Jesus. He is the author's depiction of what they feel like Jesus would be like. So we actually get a lot of insight because of this. So once you've found the character that's supposed to represent that person who's Jesus, you start to gain a lot more information. And so, for example, we know that this author here thinks, okay, so what would Jesus feel like if he was actually Jesus? So, for example, what kind of problems would Jesus be presented with? And what we see the author's answer to this question being is, they would be bored. They'd have no challenge. Wouldn't you be frustrated if you were God and had all this power and you just never had a challenge ever again? And so that's kind of the question Saitama is presented with, and that's his big conflict. It's what would happen if Jesus had all the powers of Jesus, but he wasn't God. He was omnipotent. He's all powerful, but he's not all-knowing, and he's not all-present. So he's not able to go and create new things infinitely. And so you're presented with this character who's constantly struggling with that problem. If God is all-powerful, wouldn't he get bored? Wouldn't he feel frustrated because he's never presented with a challenge? And so that is the breakdown of the show. That's what you're seeking out in the show. And then, of course, constantly being thrown with different demons. Some demons represent the sin of the 7 deadly sins. Monsters, not demons. Some of the monsters represent the 7 deadly sins. Some of the characters represent the wicked. Some of them represent evil. Typically, what you'll see is a bad philosophy gets fixed when they run into Saitama. Like, for example, the mecha gorilla guy. He is all about like evolving and being strong and being all powerful. He encounters Saitama and he turns his whole act around and realizes the way to be good is to help others. You can do much more. You can be much more powerful by being a good person in society than by trying to just be the one single source of power. And so this is my archetypical breakdown here of One Punch Man Season 2, Episode 12, one episode of these things. And if you guys like this kind of stuff, let me know. We can do more of it with some bigger movies and stuff. And if you hated it, let us know as well, and we won't do it in the future. So let us know in the chat. And let's see, do we got any questions coming in? Any insights? Any feedback? Let's see. Just a general reading. And he trains for 3 years. He did train for 3 years. That is true. Yeah, so that's it. That is the archetypical analysis of Saitama. What do you think? Oh, Beeves.
Pretty convincing.
You're pretty convincing, right? Yeah, it's pretty intense, isn't it?
I want to watch it again with that viewpoint.
Exactly. Now you go back and you watch it again. So, like, if you want the greatest author / movie maker who's ever done this, it's Tolkien. And Tolkien is incredible at hiding who Jesus is throughout the whole story. Everyone immediately thinks Gandalf, right? They're like, Gandalf is Jesus. He's not actually Jesus. He does go through a Jesus style, but what makes Gandalf, or what makes Jesus in the Lord of the Rings universe, is the fact that it's very similar to the real world's representation of what God is like. And he's completely invisible, but it's still a force that exists. And you feel him, and he's there, but it's never spoken of. It's never a direct character. It's the reason that Sam and Frodo are motivated to go into the pits of hell and sacrifice their life. And he did it so masterfully that it's so beautiful that you could watch the whole show and never feel like you ran into him at all. You never saw Satan, but the Satan was that force, that ring, the draw, the energy that's more present, which is how we see the real world. Satan is more prevalent and more visible in the real world than you would see Jesus, because this is Satan's kingdom, and so he has control over it. But nonetheless, Jesus is still able to save the day, and that's the key. Very beautiful stuff. All right, so let's move on to the next segment here. Let's take a look at the paranormal paracosm. So this is a tear-jerker ghost encounter. This one's really sad, but also really happy. It's intense. So, sad story of a woman who lost her child. She lost her young child. I believe some childhood complication, and they're having a funeral for her, or for him. And this balloon gets dislodged and proceeds to do some very, very bizarre things. It detaches from right over the picture of her child, floats through the air, moves down, and it floats directly to his mother. Almost like he's trying to tell her, I'm okay, everything's going to be all right. Exactly. So sad. Oh, and she just breaks down crying. My goodness. And now it's like moving around her. It won't go back. So it's not like a wind flow thing. It's literally following her around. My gosh. It's giving me the goose. It literally won't leave her alone either. It's just staying there. Oh, she gives the balloon a hug. And it sits down next to her. Isn't that crazy? Oh, OPVs is getting touched. OPVs is getting the feels. I feel them too. It's so intense. What a wonderful, heartwarming ghost story. Very nice paranormal paracosm for today. I'm glad that you enjoyed that, OPVs. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. And we're going to move on to the cryptids. Now we're going to get into some spooky stuff. So, the fantastic cryptids and where to find them. Tonight, we are looking in to the Skinwalker. Now, this is a pretty spooky one. This is a scary, scary, scary voice. Again, hey, Mr. Salty, welcome back. We didn't get a chance to do your reading in the first round, but we have you on the list for the next round at the end of the show. So we will have your reading up for you there. We'll see you in just a bit. Someone is pinging me on Clubhouse. No, thank you. I'm doing a show right now. All right, so let's take a look at the Skinwalkers. Fantastic cryptids and where to find them. The Skinwalker. This is a spooky one. This is another one that might be a little spooky for people. And this one's got a lot of credibility to it. So what the Skinwalker is essentially a human who is involved in a very dark cult. The belief, it comes from the Native American tradition, which was you could pursue what is good and what is normal, what is socially accepted, what is considered virtuous, and that is the path to truth and happiness and joy. The alternative is to pursue the opposite of these things, and that's where the Skinwalker cult comes in. They're almost like the Sith of the Native American lore. And they say, how can I defile myself? How can I break every social norm? How can I become as little human as possible and regress to an animal-like state? And so they would do things as simple as breaking social norms, like walking backwards, to doing very terrifying things like the final step, which is consuming another human. And that is where the Skinwalker myth comes in. So, they're known for using animal skin as camouflage and making strange calls. So they would wear the skins of other animals based on their hunting techniques, the Native American hunting techniques. But what makes them different is rather than hunting just animals, they hunt people as well. And they're able to mimic human voice because they are humans. And so they basically are the ultimate predators in their own minds. They're typically involved in witchcraft and shamanism, but they use it specifically for evil means. And it's believed that if you are unable to find food and you resort to cannibalism, you have become less than human and will become a Skinwalker. And you will go mad. Now, a lot of these people do go mad when they do this, as we know with the Donner Party, for example. And the difference is the other people who have committed cannibalism welcome you into their group as part of this crazy cult of people who have committed the act of cannibalism. And so that's where this whole freaky tradition starts. So we're going to be looking at some video evidence here that we have found. And we're going to take some time. No worries, Skinwalker time. Is this where the whole werewolf thing, especially the Native Americans, linked to werewolf? It's a little bit different. So there is sightings of were-people as well, but this is more like inside of their culture. They literally are, there's literally a group of people who have essentially ascribed to the philosophy of doing horrible things in the name of defiling themselves and becoming more animal-like.
This video was...
This guy's voice is rough, so we're going to give that the mute. Alright, so we'll check it out here. So this is the first video sighting we've got here. Another quality they tend to be seen as they would walk on all fours. Now, this isn't paranormal. This is actually based off of how Native Americans hunted. So the Native Americans would wear animal skins and they would walk on all fours to simulate being an animal to get closer to deer. Stupid ad. So this is the sighting that someone sees in their backyard. Very bizarre, right? Now, I know this is possible because I actually had friends in my church as a kid who used to run around like this. So they would run around on all fours. So I know that the human beings can actually do this. And they're very quick, too. It's freaky, right? And no, they weren't skinwalkers at my church. They were little girls. Leave them alone. Absolutely bizarre. And so this one actually, I believe, came from Australia. This was a sighting from Australia, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Yeah, Australia. Salty, let us know. Have you seen them? Let us know. Let's find out. All right, let's take another look at another video. So this one is over in America. This is more traditional areas that you would see them in America, which is the Native American lands, rocky, hilly, that kind of thing. So this guy believes this spot right here is a skinwalker. Now, at first you look at this and you're like, that doesn't look like a skinwalker. It might just be a rock, or perhaps it's a rug over a rock. Well, wait until it moves. So you see it get up and it walks away and moves and goes over it. And you can clearly see what looks like a human head. So this is very traditional to how the Native Americans would move around, which is being stationary, hiding, keeping low, having the rug to look like another animal, and then moving quickly over the rocks to get into a better position. You see them doing just that right there. Absolutely terrifying. Whew. Spooky, spooky, spooky. And then the final one we got here is apparently a clip of their call. So this guy is set up a fence because they're seeing these people coming into their property. It's freaking them out, and they're hearing these calls. And so this is supposedly the sound that they use to signal to each other within their cult, that they're a part of each other.
One right now about where the fence is at, and so behind this fence over here, there's a wood line. It's about 9:48 in the night. So we just heard it scream a little bit ago. I don't know if you can see past this, but so behind this where I'm pointing right now, there's a forest back there, and that's a pretty big forest. It's a state park. So there's nothing that's back there, and it's protected. So I don't know.
State park, that's freaky.
We're back here.
That's where they're supposedly the skinwalkers move into the forest and live there off of hunting, and when they can't get animals, they go for people. In fact, there's also rumors that a lot of these Native Americans hold grudges against white Americans because of us taking their land, and so they will specifically target people based on that fact.
There's this fence right here that protects my friend's yard, where we're at now, and from that, I don't know what you call this, but there's a pasture right here with a bunch of trees. You can't really see them. I don't know if you can see that tree or not. Can you see that tree right there? That fern right there? That's a fern. And then there's a bunch of other ferns all around. And it gets more dense as you go back. But what happens is this creature comes up against this fence, and it jumps this fence. And it was standing, we think, right in this where I'm standing right now. And my friend's inside right now. But I'm getting this footage. And did you just fucking hear that? Nope.
My apologies for the inappropriate language.
That was fucking it. Oh.
Right? It's very bizarre. And so being humans, they're able to make all sorts of different noises. So they'll mimic animal calls. They'll mimic people's voices. They will mimic all different sorts of sounds and whatnot. And they believe that they basically are possessed by the animals because they become animals. So they don't even think of themselves as people anymore. They think of themselves as skinwalkers, a type of creature. And so that is the evidence to support the cryptid known as the skinwalker. Is it real? Is it fake? I'm not sure. I'm probably going to go with 65% real. It seems really, just from, I guess in some places it could work, but I would imagine that, they would die off pretty quickly. Like, this is not a sustainable lifestyle choice. To live off in the woods alone without shelter, just living on hunting alone, hunting people. Like, I feel like if enough people went missing, that we would be like, all right, let's go to the forest and get some guns. Like, we're not going to let this keep happening. But, I mean, it does seem like it is supported in the Native American lore. The thing that makes this hard is Native Americans will not talk to non-natives about skinwalkers. They keep it a secret. And they don't really say why they won't, but they basically say that's not for people who aren't in the tribe. You're not allowed to know. So that does add a little bit of credibility. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Seems possible.
Does seem... I can see how it looks possible.
That's how people used to live. Just like traveling nomads.
Traveling nomads, but in like... What are you going to do in a Montana forest? You know, you're going to be frozen to death in a couple of days.
Not necessarily.
I guess.
They dress like a deer.
It's true. They got a bunch of skin. Maybe. You know what? I'll upgrade to 80%. 80%. We're going all the way up. We're going. Oh, Peewees has convinced me. I'm now going 80%. Let's see. I'll research it down there. Here, do they build shelter? I'm not sure. That there's a lot of secrets about them. The main thing that's revealed that we know is that they are from Native American tribes. They try to dehumanize themselves. They eat people as like the ultimate thing, to be the ultimate to disgrace. They believe that doing that can actually turn you into one. Once you do, you are out of the tribe, and now you are a part of the forest and have joined the Skinwalker groups and will hunt animals, but also people. And you're basically the ultimate predator kind of thing. Pretty spooky stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't want to believe in them because they're so spooky.
Indian reservation.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. All right. Oh, okay. So with that, we're going to move on to the last paranormal paracosm. Then we have our practical philosophy, and then we'll be doing our final readings and closing up for the night. So this one is a quick one. Pretty creepy, though. This is a shadow person getting caught on camera. It's very good footage, though. So that's where I think it's very clear. I don't know if it's real or not, but it is very clear. And so I found it kind of interesting. So this guy is just going into his basement and apparently he says he's seen some shadows out of the corners of his eyes. He got a little freaked out, so he pulled out his camera to film it. First off, big basement, dude. Where do you live? A mansion? Seriously, where? Shoot, this is a huge basement. What the heck? So that's the shadow figure. Isn't that weird? He'll slow it down for you in a bit here. And so that's it. He said he's going down into his basement. Maybe the basement of his work. Maybe it's a basement of his work. Look at that. Boom. It's just so clear. You can just see what looks like a shadow just pop off the wall and just walk through. Absolutely insane. Really crazy, huh? And so that's it. That's the shadow person that I saw. Very spooky. It's rare that you get the video where it's not just some guy going like this with his camera. Just like, let me just take a quick photo for you guys. Oh, here we go. And you're just like, can you not just, like, I get you're scared or something, but like, you don't need to go like this while you're doing it. So pretty intense. I would have turned around ASAP. Me too. Sully says, check out the dude on YouTube called Professional Caveman. Ooh, interesting. All right, I'll check it out. Matthew says, very spooky. Yes, indeed. I agree. All right, so let's move on to practical philosophy. Practical philosophy. Today's quote comes from Blaise Pascal, and his quote is, actually in reference to a personal letter he sent. He actually conveyed some very powerful philosophy that can really just massively improve your life. And his quote was, "I have made this letter longer than usual, only because I have not had the time to make it shorter." Now, what he's communicating here is the power of simplicity. Making things simpler is extremely powerful and is an act of intelligence. It actually requires much more work to take a complicated idea and to make it simple and understandable for other people. When you're writing for persuasive purposes, a great way to apply this principle is to imagine every word in what you're writing cost $100 and remove as many words as possible. By doing that alone, you are going to be able to write far more persuasively than you would have been if you had tried to follow some persuasive writing formula, for example. By simply making your writing more simple, you can actually improve the quality of your writing significantly. And it's just because things that are simple are easier to transmit to other people's minds. That's actually what advertising is mostly about, is not trying to manipulate or trick anyone. In fact, good advertising, the whole purpose is to communicate the most important things to the right people in the simplest way possible so that they can take action on the idea. So how can you start applying this to your everyday life? Ask yourself periodically, what would this look like if it was easy or simple, whenever you're doing anything? And this simple question is enough to start unlocking your creative parts of your mind and to start thinking to yourself, how could I make this easier? How could I make this simpler? Is there a better way? Maybe I could Google it. Maybe you spend 30 minutes every day peeling hard-boiled eggs. And you could go up and be like, what would it be if it was easy? What would this look like? Maybe pop on YouTube, easy ways to peel hard-boiled eggs. And you can probably find 10, 15 different ways to do it. And you might find out there's a much simpler, easier way to live your life that could save you a ton of time. And so that is applying the power of simplicity. This is across the spectrum. Whenever possible, ask yourself, how can I make this simpler? How can I make this less complicated? How can I make this more clear? And you will find fantastic results in the material world, in the persuasive world, in the monetary world, even in the business world. Gordon Ramsay, for example, says the number one thing that he tells new restaurants to do is cut their menus in half. If you have more than 10 items on your menu, you're screwing up. Simplify, simplify, simplify your menu, and you will see revenue increase, because when your menu's simplified, a lot of things become easier. For example, if you only have 10 items on your menu, now you can increase the quality of the ingredients for those 10 items because you're not spending money to buy the ingredients for 30 items, for example. So that's a good example of applying simplicity philosophy, and that is Blaise Pascal's quote. So start applying simplicity today. All right, let's move on to the final round of wizard readings. First up is the one, the only, the legend, Salty Owl. Boo, 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 boo. All right, Salty Owl, you are up. Let's get your reading going, sir. And we have a owlifying to do as well. What is the owl name that is being sought out today? Do you know?
Tails the Owl.
Tail Owl? Or Tails Owl?
He said Tails the Owl.
Tails the Owl? Okay, yeah, we can do that. Tails the Owl. All right, Tails the Owl. We'll get that started here. Let's see what Salty is looking for. Keep it simple, stupid. That is correct. That is the KISS formula from Salty. Is there anything in particular you're looking for insights on, Mr. Salty? Let me know. Heck yeah. I like how he abbreviated stupid. It's like it's a swear word.
So I wanted to start out.
Would YouTube block that? I wonder.
I don't think so.
Tails the Owl. Awesome. All right, let's go. So, Mr. Salty, let's take a look here. All right, so what we see popping up here is the King of Cups. All right, so this is a pretty cool, powerful card here. So this is about the knowledge of emotions. And so what this represents is taking the time to really ask yourself, why do I feel what I'm feeling now? What is the source of this? This is an important audit to do periodically throughout our lives. Because you want to make sure that the emotions that you're experiencing, the feelings that you're feeling, are because of what's happening in your general, it's a rough estimate, but 4 weeks before, 4 weeks into the future. You don't want to be allowing your emotions to be firing because of something that's going to happen 5 years from now. And you don't want your emotions to be firing because of something that happened 5 years ago. And the King of Cups is the process that Carl Jung actually talks about for making that the case. And so the way that you do this is when you feel a strong emotion, stopping and saying, why am I feeling this? What is the triggering event that's causing this? And then seeing, is that because of something that's happened in my immediate environment? Or is it because of something that happened in my past that's scaring me, that I'm worried about? And this can be even very small things. For example, small problems from your childhood. Your subconscious will hold on to those, and it will keep warning you throughout your life until you provide it with a solution. And it can be something very silly. For example, maybe you are at school and your friend steals your pencil from you. And now you're sad because your brain is latched onto like, oh, whoa, there are people in this world who will steal from me. That's a big problem. And then you don't resolve that problem. And so when you don't resolve it, your brain holds on to that. And it's just like, hey, did you know people can steal from us, though? Hey, people can steal. Just so you know, you can steal. And it will keep warning you in different ways whenever those scenarios pop up. And so what you need to do in these situations is realize the source and then offer a solution, even if it's silly. For example, you could tell your kid self, hey, if someone steals our pencil, we'll buy another pencil and we'll keep it in a safe box. And your brain will go, oh, okay, that's a solution to that problem. And it literally relieves that tension and it stops sending that signal. So that's an example of how you can apply this process and start gaining knowledge of your emotions. So that's the reading I have for you today, Salty Owl. I hope that helps you out, gives you some insights. And let's get the one, the only, Tails the Owl, Owlified. All right, let's just begin. Where's my pen? This will work. So what I'm going to do is go like this. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm making a little glowing ball in between my hand. Now, only like 20% of people can see it. If they practice, you can actually learn to see them. But that being said, it doesn't really matter because the point isn't for you to see the ball, it's to confuse you. You weren't expecting me to do it, so when I place it on the tip of this Sharpie here, you're equally confused, and that's okay, because what I want you to know, Tails the Owl, is that we don't need to worry about the people in the world and how we compare to them. Other people's success doesn't make sense to compare to ourselves because we aren't those people. The best measure you can use is to compare where you're trying to go and how much closer did you get today. Ask yourself, instead of being, am I like someone else? Ask yourself, am I better than the person I was yesterday? And if not, what changes can I make today to be better than who I was yesterday? And if you focus on that, you'll always be able to continue growing and moving forward and not feel so overwhelmed. So we're going to take that advice here, send it on off, fly through the air. Now you might feel something weird, temperature changes, shadows move, strange phenomenon, all very normal. If that happens, it's perfectly fine. Let us know in the comments below, though. And it should be arriving here. Oh, you guys are in Australia. This might take a little bit longer here. All right. There we go. I think we got it. 3, 2, 1. Tails the Owl, welcome to the flock. Woo! You're crushing! Woo! Tails the Owl, you're a legend! Woo! All right. Let's see. Family on the money so far. Hey, it's Tails. I'm watching. Welcome. How are you doing, Tails the Owl? Enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy. And welcome to the flock. I hope you're happy, Tails the Owl. Is this a reference to Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog? If it is, that's pretty legit. I was always the guy that picked Tails because he was busted. He could fly by spinning his tail, and it's like, how do you do anything other than that? She felt it. Awesome. Glad to see that worked, and you are having a good old time. All right. So who is up next?
That's all.
Oh, that's our only reading, huh? All right. Well, if anyone else has a reading that they'd like, let us know in the comments below. We'll get that started.
It is.
What?
Tails.
It is Tails the Sonic? Yes, he's so good. I always would pick him in the video games because it was so cool. You could like go and do the loop, but then you just click X and you're just like fly around. It was just so awesome. I loved playing that game. That was good stuff. She is a fast one. Oh yeah, well Tails is really fast. Have you seen the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie? It was funny because we had a bit of a prediction that went on in the show. As you know, I like to predict things that people aren't expecting to happen. And at the time, there was a big debacle with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. They released a picture of him that, let's just be frank, looked really disturbing. And everyone was like, are you kidding me? A Sonic the Hedgehog movie? Did you see what he looked like? It looked terrifying. And nobody's going to watch this. And so at that moment, everyone was freaking out. The studio actually said, we've heard your complaints, and we are going to redo our character design of Sonic. We apologize, and we're going to make it right. And they did. And they redesigned the character and made him much more appealing and fixed the problem. And when they did that, I made a prediction. I told people, Star Wars is coming out. New Star Wars movies, new Marvel movies are coming out. I think that Sonic the Hedgehog is going to outperform the Star Wars movies because they did something that a movie studio hasn't done in over 10 years. And that was they listened to their fans, heard their criticisms, and then changed their behavior. Star Wars, on the other hand, heard their criticisms from their fans, said that you're all horrible, racist people and you should die because you're bad and you suck, and then didn't change their movie. Guess which one lost money? Guess which one just knocked it out of the box office? Sonic the Hedgehog did, people. And Sonic the Hedgehog is a legendary movie because of that. A big Magic fan as well? Awesome. I'm glad to see it. So what is the moral of the story? Listen to your clientele. If they have feedback for you, listen. It doesn't mean they're always right. In fact, a lot of times they're wrong. But you should listen to them, especially when the majority of your clientele are all saying one thing. You know, if you're a lawn care guy and one person's complaining about you not being on time, that's not that big a deal. If 80% of your clients are saying you're showing up wrong, you're probably the problem. So, good piece of business advice there for you. All right, well, with that, we're going to go ahead and we'll close up the stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the show for today. We'll be back here again live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Coast time. We also do a spooky magic show over on TikTok at 7:20 p.m. Pacific Coast time. We cause some very bizarre phenomenon to occur and other such things. So you mentioned that Tails the Owl is a magic fan. Well, she might enjoy that, but it is a little scary. So I don't know how old Tails the Owl is. So probably watch it yourself first. Make sure it's the right vibe. I don't want to be spooking anyone that's too young. And so you can check that out there. And also, if you want access to our private Discord, it is in beta. Our goal is to replace social media with an Owls-only community where people can share what's going on in their lives, their business, and stay connected. So if you're interested in that, definitely go into Discord. And if you have an owl name, we are setting up a project here that's going to allow people to make a little bit of cash, potentially, hypothetically, on the side. So we're working on that, and to get involved with that, we do need people who have owl names. So if you can Discord me, what am I saying? Facebook message me, Instagram message me, TikTok message me, any of those places will work. Let us know. We have to get a little bit more information to set this thing up, let you know what it is. And if you're interested, you can. It doesn't cost anything to do, but it can make you a little bit of money if you like the show and have friends that you would like to introduce to the show. So that is the idea, and we'll give you more information in the future. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Let's roll the credits. Mr. Salty says 1-1. I'm not sure what that means. 11? Oh, she's 11. Got it. Oh, that was an answering to the question. Yeah, I don't know. Charlie's pretty spooky. It's a pretty spooky magic show. We do I do mentalism, so we're doing stuff like making paranormal phenomenon occur, moving people's pendulums, flashing lights on and off, moving stuff in people's houses, making books fly off shelves, knocking over brooms, that kind of thing. So it can be pretty scary stuff. But again, it's a magic show. So, it's active imagination, not spiritual stuff. So that being said, a little spooky. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.